Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your Chief Security Fanatic here, and obviously you can tell I am traveling right now. I am sitting in Texas, and yesterday I was at O'Hare Airport for quite a long time. Thank you, FAA. Now, I got, during that outage from the FAA, a lot of different questions, emails, DMs, whatever it was, saying, oh my God, is this it? Is the Russians attacking? Is this the big one? Those kinds of things. And I put out publicly, basically I said, we don't know what's going on right now. And statistically, there's a much better chance that there was some kind of glitch or issue. You know, maybe somebody in the data center was glug, glug, glug and tripping over a cable. Who knows, right? So it's more likely that something like that over a cyber attack in some way, shape, or form actually happened. Obviously, since this is critical government infrastructure, we don't basically leave anything to chance when it comes to examining these kinds of things, but we have information today that I want to go over, and if you have not been keeping up since the annoyances of travel delays of yesterday, which I literally, like I said, was involved in, here's what's going on. Now, this is coming from CNN, but other outlets are also reporting this as well. Officials are, for the record, still trying to figure out 100% exactly what happened over at the Federal Aviation Administration due to this outage, but interestingly enough, it has been traced back to a corrupt file. That's right. In a statement late on Wednesday, the FAA said that it's continuing to investigate this outage and, quote, take all the steps needed to prevent this kind of disruption from happening again. Our preliminary work has traced the outage to a damaged database file. At this time, there's no evidence of a cyber attack. Now, obviously, they're going to keep investigating, ideally, probably forensically, to make sure that this is indeed the case and there isn't some kind of cyber attack that they've missed, but odds are this is probably what happened. Now, the FAA is still trying to determine whether any one person or quote-unquote routine entry into that database is responsible for this corrupted file. They are looking at this because obviously this caused the outage in the NOTAM system, which we will talk about. Now, a source familiar with the FAA's operations described to CNN yesterday exactly how this played out. When air traffic control officials, and here's what happened, when they realized that basically their computer had issues late on Tuesday, they came up with a plan to reboot the system when it would least disrupt air travel, and that would be early on Wednesday morning. But ultimately, that plan led to an outage and massive flight delays. Like I said, I was at O'Hare, and all basically the unprecedented order to stop all traffic in the air departures nationwide. This is the largest air stoppage, for the record, in aviation history since 9/11. 9/11 was the only one that was bigger, and obviously if you lived through 9/11, you know exactly what happened there. Now, the computer system that failed was a central database for all NOTAMs, which is the Notice to Air missions nationwide, coast to coast. And so those notices basically advise pilots of issues along their routes and their destinations. It has a backup which officials switched to when the problems on the main system emerged, and this is according to sources speaking to news outlets like CNN. Officials ultimately found a corrupt file in the main NOTAM system, and the corrupt file was also found in their backups as well. In the overnight hours of Tuesday into Wednesday, FAA officials decided to shut down and reboot the main NOTAM system. Basically, that's a huge decision because that can take up to 90 minutes to come back online. So they decided to perform that reboot early Wednesday morning before air traffic began flying on the East Coast to try and minimize disruption of flights. Quote, they thought they'd be ahead of the rush, according to one source. Now, during the early morning process, the FAA told reporters that the system was, quote, beginning to come back online, end quote, but said that it would take some time to resolve. The system, according to the source, and I quote, did come back up, but it wasn't completely pushing out the pertinent information that it needed for safe flight, and it appeared that it was taking longer to do that. That's when the FAA issued the nationwide ground stop around 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time, halting all domestic departures in the United States. Now, aircraft in line for takeoff were being held before entering runways. Flights that are already in the air were being advised verbally on safety notices via air traffic control, and those basically who kept static electronic paper records at their desks of active notices were obviously disseminating this information as best they could to the planes that were in the air. Obviously, if this goes down and there are issues along your route, those are the kinds of things that you want as a pilot. The last thing you want to do is collide with another plane or, you know, have to make your own decisions up there and then therefore potentially screw up somebody else's flight plan and then collide with another plane. So obviously this is what we have thus far. Like I said, it's much more of a chance that this is just some major screw up. I actually just wrote an article that's probably going through the publishing process right now. I literally sat there at O'Hare typing it out about the problem that we have in the federal government with technology debt. There basically is a line where as you're spending money on technology, eventually that technology becomes antiquated and it costs you more money to maintain it than it does to simply buy a new system or a new process. And by virtue of that, the federal government, because it moves slower, tends to have a lot of technology debt. Some systems out there, from local to federal, have been around since the 1990s, and they are very hard to upgrade because they are critical to basically the smooth operations of the country in some way, shape, or form. And so this is going to be a serious issue, this technology debt, this upgrading and all of that, but it does not appear to be at this time. And again, the jury is still coming in, but it's just looking like a corrupt file screwed up the whole dang thing. I've seen that happen multiple times, and anybody that has been in IT or cybersecurity understands exactly how that works, that, stuff just corrupts over time. Corruption never stays the same, and it only gets worse. So there you go. That is your news of the day. Hopefully the air traffic is going to be back online and we're not going to have these issues anymore, but you never know. And that is your news of the day. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please attempt to stay private. Thanks, everybody.